watch your feet. Don't hurt your head.
Hey, welcome everyone to Movement Flow Yoga. My name is Mark Cormier. I'll be practicing with Kathy Cormier today. Any comments or suggestions, feeling free to put in the comment section. I look at it from time to time. And when anyone joins in, I'll try to greet you by name, make you feel welcome in this virtual yoga environment. All right, Kathy, are you ready? Awesome. Why don't you step into the frame? I'll be cueing some things for Kathy in terms of the frame at home. Feeling free to stay just as you are facing the camera. All right, how are you feeling today, Kathy?
I'm feeling great.
Okay.
Thank you. I had a lot of sleep and a lot of rest yesterday, so that was really awesome.
Sleep and rest. Yeah, I mean, it's free. You can do it.
It's free if you have a work situation that allows it to be free.
That's true. All right.
But I'm grateful
Excellent.
to be here with you and with all of you in the virtual world today.
Cool. Anything you'd like to work on in terms of part of the body, yoga shape you're interested in exploring?
I'm just continuing my exploration of the back of the heart. This spot, right here,
Okay, so
where my thumb is.
yeah, let me just want you to stay there. So we've got our lumbar spine down here. That's your lower spine. Your thoracic spine, which is here. That's your mid spine. Your cervical spine, which is up here, which is your neck spine.
What's this?
So I would call that kind of the juncture of
Like right between your
lower
shoulder blades.
lower cervical and upper thoracic.
It's like where you feel everything, all the emotions and empathy.
Yeah, yeah. And then thank you for sharing that.
And where the stress happens, it's like that's where you start to feel it, but
You
you
start
start
to
to
tighten
feel
up.
better when you can release that area.
Very cool. Now it's interesting because when I start to feel stressed, so this low belly region right here, that starts to tighten up on me.
Interesting. So everyone's
Just-
different.
everyone's
it
a
just
little
goes to
different.
show that's the
Absolutely.
beauty of the yoga. It's almost like melting. I feel like yoga is like melting the butter of your body to relax.
The ghee, right? A more purified form.
Sorry, I'm a little metaphysical.
All right, so let's start our practice, as entertaining as our chat is. I'll invite you to find your feet. Let's bring hands on hips and just march it from side to side. We can start big. And then from a bigger place, starting to dial it in as we go smaller and slower. Now staying grounded through 2 feet, just rocking the weight from side to side. Coming to center vis-a-vis side to side, let's rock our weight heel toe, and again let's start big as we lift the toes and lift the heels, just back and forth, just feeling our feet. Now letting that bigger motion get smaller and more subtle as we just shift the weight front to back to front. And then finding your feet evenly front to back. Playing with little circles here, so keeping the knees relatively rigid. You don't have to overdo that one. And we're just kind of working more with our ankles and our feet. And then taking those little circles the other way. Also an excellent way to connect with our core. When we do these circles with our knees a little bit rigid, our core has to work a little bit harder to keep our balance. And that's a great reason why we generally bend our knees. It's just it really helps with our balance. Coming back to center, softening those knees, feeling the back plane of your body, maybe even putting your mind in that back heart place, and metaphorically sending your breath to that place, finding a little more expansion between those shoulder blades. Keeping this, I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart, a light press against your sternum. That's what I call front heart. Lining up each finger, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Without shortening the neck, a slight tuck of the chin. Starting to bring our attention even more inward, just watching as we breathe. From this watching of your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath, finding a long, slow inhalation in, and an equally long, slow exhalation out. Noticing where the air goes, noticing where the air doesn't go. And trying to balance it perfectly on both the inhale and the exhale. We won't get there, but just that effort will tune us in, will dial us into our practice. Starting to align our mind with our body, and the breath is the bridge between the two. Now finding a go-to breath in many flow practices, the Ujjayi breath, the victorious breath. We have a nice warm sunny room here, but it is a heating breath, so if you're working in less sunny circumstances, as you start to gently dial the temperature of your body up, slightly constricting the base of your throat, adding that sound and feel to your breath. Often compared to the sound of the ocean as the waves wash in and out. Now taking the tip of your tongue to the hard palate just behind the teeth. Keeping that tongue loop throughout the practice, keeping our jaws relaxed, and connecting front and back planes of our bodies. And finally, with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face, opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, if you closed your eyes, opening your eyes, hands by your side. Just work with shoulders and arms as we inhale, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, arms down. 2 more times like this. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms down. 1 more time. I love the number 3. Breathing in and breathing out. Now I'll invite you to go sideways, Kathy, and we'll work a half sun salutation. At home, stay just as you are. Inhaling, arms out to the side. On the exhale, leading with the heart, front heart, as you fold. Take a breath to cap the knees as we arc the back. So really feeling that lift of chin and tail, that dip in back heart. On the exhale, rounding the spine as we puff out back heart. Inhaling, moving towards flat back, hinging at the hips, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 2 more times just like that. Inhaling, up. Exhaling, leading with the heart as we swan dive over. Take a breath to arc the back, really lifting chin and tail, really dipping back heart. On the exhale, puffing back heart as we fold. Inhaling, hinging at the hips, leading with back heart. Exhaling, standing tall. 1 more time. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, folding. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Sun salutation A without vinyasa. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, arching the back and grounding down to the hands as you make your way back to down dog. Take your time. No need to rush. Yeah, so down dog, there you go. As we hold down dog, I'll invite you to walk your dog as you bend 1 leg deeply, grounding down through the opposite heel. So you bend 1 leg deeply, grounding down through the opposite heel, yoga model.
Oh, I'm just trying to find myself in the frame.
It's all good. And then you'll find that same stretch on the second side. And then just back and forth between the sides, just stretching it out. Kathy has a wonderful home practice. Sometimes she slips into that. Having said that, for the sake of the camera, there you go. From a place of movement, moving back towards stillness, long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. Tail end of a breath, bending the knees ever so slightly, lifting the tailbone a little higher, more space in that lumbar spine. And then looking between the hands as you either step or maybe you take a jump to the front of your mat. Maybe not yet. Take a breath to find length when you arrive, arcing the back. On the exhale, arching the spine. Inhaling, hinging at the hips, leading with back heart, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Second one, just like the first, this time I will cue vinyasa. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine. Elbows soft as you find chaturanga, yoga push-up. So that happens straight off the bat. Take your time. Feel free to use the knees or not. Inhaling either into cobra, back bend, the hips stay down, or lifting the hips up for your up dog. And then either using the knees or rolling over the toes as you stretch it back to down dog. Again, thank you for staying in the frame. At home, stay just as you are. As we hold this down dog, either holding in the stillness or again feeling free to walk the dog from side to side, maybe less big, maybe just more of a subtle shift. Maybe incorporating the shoulders, maybe seeing how your neck feels. And then from a place of movement, I'll invite you to move back towards stillness. Long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. Tail end of a breath, bending the knees ever so slightly, lifting the tailbone just a little bit higher, more space in that low back. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump from. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding and flowing. Inhaling, moving towards flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Let's do one more sun sal A. We'll throw a moving plank into the mix. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On an exhale, finding a forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine, and I'll invite you to cycle through vinyasa as you find Chaturanga Yoga push-up with or without the knees. Inhaling into your back bend, be it cobra or up dog, or maybe both. And you start with the cobra and then pull it into an up dog. And then stretching back to down dog. Feeling free at home to hold your down dog for the sake of this visual practice. I'll invite Kathy to come forward to plank pose. Navel to spine as you lift the hips high on an exhale, so you can go back to down dog from this place. 2 more times. Inhaling forward to your plank. Exhaling back to your down dog. This last one I'll invite you to hold. Inhaling forward to plank, holding for 2 or 3 long, slow breaths. Feeling that connection between your head, your hips, and your heels. Feeling a nice openness in the back of the knee without locking the knee as the calves lift up to the sky. Feeling a nice stretch in your Achilles tendons as the heels stretch towards back wall. And then navel to spine as you exhale and lift those hips high, and holding for another couple of breaths. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, and then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling right in the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall, hands by your side. Sun Salutation B, flow style. Inhaling into a chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, glutes engaged, supporting a back bend at the top, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length as you arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine as you ground on down, making your way back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, your choice. Awesome, beautiful up dog. Flow style from down dog, finding a 3-legged dog. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes as you stretch out Achilles tendon and calf. Feel that stretch, nice. And then looking between the hands as you bring that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead for your warrior one. And then riding your exhale back down to a low lunge as you spin that back heel up. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Beautiful. Yeah, feel free to use the knees. Make sure your low back is happy. Awesome. Beautiful. I love the way your shoulders really descend now. Much more prominent than when we started practicing. Whenever we started doing these videos.
Wow. Awesome.
I know. That back heart's starting to loosen up. Second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Feeling that stretch in Achilles tendon and calf. And then bringing that left foot through. Spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead. Finding your warrior one. Awesome. And then on the exhale, back to your low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Again, take your time. Let your breath initiate the action as best you can. A lot of times we forget. It really is a breath-centered practice. As we hold our down dog, other choices might be child's pose or all fours. Coming back to Samarviti. Equal breath, a long, slow inhalation, followed by an equally long, slow exhalation. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending your knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, and then looking between the hands as you either step or take that jump front. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, finding your chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine, hands by your side. Let's do one more Sun Sal B. These warm-ups are important. And we'll add a hip opener. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length as you arc. On the exhale, arching the spine as you ground on down and making your way back to down dog, as you will. From down dog. So Kathy's centering herself in the frame. You all at home don't have to do that. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder just as it is as best you can, twisting from the ribs as we stack the hips, lifted leg straight. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. And then looking between the hands, bringing that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, finding your warrior one. On the inhale, take your time. It's okay, yeah, you don't have to worry too much about it. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Take your time. Find your flow. Follow your breath. Second side when you're ready. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Keeping that left shoulder just as it is as best you can, twisting from the torso, the ribs. You might initiate the motion back hard, lifted leg straight. Now bending the leg, opening up that hip, feeling the stretch. And then bringing that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, finding your warrior one, inhaling. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge, and then back to down dog, as you will. Deep full breath. Awesome. Kathy's working hard, I can see. And from that place of hard work, trying to find some ease in your down dog, and if down dog's not easeful, again, all fours, child's pose. Always respecting. Always listening to your body, and even more importantly, respecting what your body has to say. And that's a wonderful form of the pose of a child with the palms spun up. Wherever you choose to work, I invite you to bring your breath into the back plane of your body, using your breath to find a little more freedom, a little more space in that spine, cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. Wherever you are at home, feeling free to stay there. For the purposes of this video, I'll invite Kathy to find her down dog. And on the tail end of her breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as she lifts the tailbone a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you step or take that jump front. Beautiful, nice jump. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, fold.
I just figured out something about jumping.
On the inhale, you'll maybe talk in a sec. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, standing tall. And I'll ask you to face the camera and maybe share your insight about the jump.
It really requires strength in the part of the back that I said I wanted to work on.
Oh, I usually...
Strength and flexibility.
And it's interesting.
It's like wingspan. It's like your wingspan.
Wingspan. I'll have to try that. I usually focus here. Again, I hold my tension here and you hold your tension
But then
here.
again, this is an area that I've always had difficulty with, given that I feel fearful of handstands and all those things that require this kind of agility and strength.
Concentrated, yeah. That's an energy center too between the shoulder blades.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right, so hands to heart.
thank you for listening,
That's all good.
virtual world.
And at home, feeling free to share your insights with yourself as you work through this.
Or with the
practice.
comments.
In the comments too. Hands to heart, coming back to that breath focus. Working through a standing pose sequence. I'll invite you to go sideways and we'll start as we have been, finding our chair pose on an inhale, knees over toes, hands overhead. Yeah, so you want to bring the hands overhead.
Oh yeah.
There you
Actually,
go.
I see on this side. I'm sorry. I'm anticipating your next moves.
Taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, little back bend, engaging those glutes, firm foundation. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length as you arc the back. On the exhale, folding again and making your way back to down dog as you will. We'll do a lot of push-ups. Make sure your shoulders want to do all these push-ups. You can always just skip to vinyasa and find your down dog or hold a plank pose. Awesome. So we'll start with that same hip opener, keeping it simple. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder as best you can, just as it is. You just stack the hips, lift the legs straight.
Wait, no. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes, so try to keep the shoulders. You want to twist more here. Try to stabilize here. And that's going to keep your shoulders a little safer. And it might not even be, it'll be a less of a twist, but it'll be a better twist for more mobility in that mid-back, that thoracic spine. Now bending the top leg. keeping the shoulder just as it is. Yeah. And then bringing that foot on through, spinning the back heel down, finding your warrior one.
Wait, I just have an interesting insight. It's
Yeah.
just once your hips are once you bend your knees,
Yeah.
you actually can keep your shoulder push if you plant it and keep it straight, yet work on twisting your hips a little more.
Okay. I'll try to incorporate that into my cueing. Sometimes the subtle stuff gets lost. Arms out to the side and then overhead. Now I'll allow you to bring hands back to hips. Now if you're at your max, you'll stay right there. I always go a little short. So if you want to lengthen your stance, safest way to do it is to shift weight onto the front foot as you take the back foot back. That's less stress on that front knee. So, yeah. So, and if you want to, she's going to center herself in the frame.
I'm there.
From here, let's stretch hands high to the sky. Pulling silk threads, straightening the front leg without locking the knee, breathing in. Breathing out, cactus arms. 6 times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. We're halfway done. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Last one, breathing in, breathing out, and holding those cactus arms. Elbows move back, the hands come with, rippling those fingers. Open heart, open throat. You might lift the chin just a little bit, a little more space in that throat chakra. Nice. And breathing into that space. From here, moving towards the Warrior 3 balance challenge as you bring hands to hips. Big step in or a series of smaller steps. You can start to balance on that right leg as the left foot lifts up. You can work your Warrior 3 any place. So it could be a relatively low back foot, or you can start to pitch the body forward as you lift the back foot higher. Working arm variations. You feel solid? Hands stretch back. Hands stretch out. Now hands stretch front. This is a little tricky. Either keeping your gaze down or see what happens when you lift your face to look through those hands. Beautiful. And keep the knee a little bit bent. It's going to help with the balance. Hands come to the heart. So you're centering. And now bringing hands to hips. So we take a big step back, coming back to our Warrior 1 prep. Turning Warrior 1 hips into Warrior 2 hips. We can use those hands to steer our hips sideways.
At this point, it was the problem. Sorry.
It's all good. Finding our Warrior 2, and you might kick the back foot in just a little bit. Classically, it's heel to arch alignment. And then you want to look out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. That's your drishti, your eye focus. Awesome. From here, painting rainbows. Straightening the front leg without locking the knee. Inhaling. Exhaling back to Warrior 2. We'll do 6. Breathing in and breathing out. A little more palm tree in there. Yeah, just feel the flow. Halfway done. Breathing in and breathing out. That's it. All parts of the arms are very soft and delicious. And down. Last one here. Holding that reverse warrior. Reaching up higher, reaching down further, finding more space between each rib as you breathe. Spreading those fingers wide as we find more space in our hands. Really, yeah, there you go. Awesome. And then reverse warrior back to Warrior 2. Transitioning to our triangle. Thumb and forefinger, find crease of hip and base of rib. We're going to deepen that crease and lengthen those ribs, keeping a little spring in the knee. If you don't have a brick, you can ground your hand on shin, thumb in line with the shin bone. Otherwise, you can frame a brick outside the calf. We can use this top hand to good effect as we rotate our ribs. Nice. Comes to the shoulder to open up the shoulder. And then stretch his hand high to the sky. As we hold the triangle, that looks awesome. You're right in frame. Breathing into your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel. It's also where our torso bends. As you breathe out from that center, finding more length through the legs, the arms, and both ends of the spine. As we hold the triangle, let's see who's here. Welcome, Matthew. Welcome, Rose. Moving towards our second balance challenge, the half moon. Top hand finds the hip. Take your time, big step in. You're going to center yourself in frame a little bit at home. You don't have to do this. Right hand off to the right, and I suggest a wider base is going to be more stable than a narrower base. Lifting that back leg any amount, just like with our Warrior 3. It could be minimal, it could be maximal. We can use that top hand to good effect as we rotate our ribs, opening up shoulder. If you have your balance.
You know what? I would love one more brick.
You want one more brick?
Just horizontal.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah. And again, breathing into center, from that center radiating out into space in at least 5 directions. 2 legs, 2
What can
arms.
people use at home if they don't have books? Could they use books?
Phone books, soup cans are awful. If you have like food you're about to
Pasta
donate
cans.
to the food bank, those are nice size. Get creative. We've got
Furniture, chair.
chair, furniture. Yeah. From here, let's come down lightly. Top hand finds the hip. Big step back. Try to find, or a short stance. If you land a short stance, hands find the hips as you lengthen your stance. And then back to your warrior 2. And then from warrior 2, I'll suggest a big windmill of the arms as you stretch out your shoulders, finding your low lunge as you spin that back heel up. And then back to down dog. As you will, and you take your time, find your flow. Awesome. So if I were teaching a live class, we do a ground sequence now, but it gets kind of muddled on camera. I'm going to stick mostly with standing poses just because it's a better presentation. But I do want to do a little interlude, and I'm going to suggest that moving plank that we did before. Inhaling forward to plank pose. Navel to spine as you lift the hips high, back to down dog. Inhaling forward to your plank. Exhaling, drawing it back. This last one, I'll invite you to hold for 2 or 3 long, slow breaths. Again, just feeling that pillar of energy through the center of yourself. The fancy word for it is the axis mundi. It's, it's the center line of the body. And then navel to spine as you lift the hips high. How's your energy level, Kath?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right, you ready for that second side without a child's pose?
Sure.
Okay, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky. High in the right toes. So I'm going to really put your mind in the shoulders. Yeah, want to switch, okay. So shoulders are super, super stable. And it's probably going to be much less of a twist as you stack the hips. You'll find a little more motility in that thoracic spine. Yeah, nice. Now bending the leg, and you're probably able to go a little bit further because it's easier to stabilize the shoulders, as you mentioned before. And now looking between the hands as you bring that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead as you find your warrior 1. So Kathy tends to go longer than I do, but I'll give the cue that I give myself. Hands come back to the hips. I like to shift weight onto the front foot to go a little longer on my stance as I feel more stretch in my legs. I tend to go short. So she's already where she wants to be. So now, from that foundation, she's going to stretch those hands high. And then pulling silk threads here when you're ready. Straightening the front leg without locking the knee. Inhaling. On the exhale, cactus arms. And 6 times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. We're halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out, now holding. This is a great takeaway stretch. You don't have to have warrior 1 legs to do this. You can do this at your desk. Elbows move back, the hands come with, rippling those fingers. Open heart, you might lift the chin, open throat, maybe not that much, just kind of more subtle. Lift just a little bit higher. There it is. Yeah, that's beautiful. And now moving towards our warrior 3 balance challenge, right? Yeah. Spinning back heel up. Either a series of smaller steps or a big step in as we prepare to balance on that left foot. And you can work this very minimally, keeping that big toe very close to the floor, or pitching your body forward as you lengthen through the legs. When you're ready, wherever your warrior 3 here, working the arm variations as we stretch hands back, shoulders stretch away from the ears, nice. Now we stretch hands wide across front and back hard. Feel that expansion between the shoulder blades, nice. And then very carefully sweeping those hands front, take your time, and challenging your proprioception as you lift the face to look through those hands. From this place of expansion, we're going to recenter as hands find the heart, and then hands find the hips as we take a big step back. And again, you might take a series of steps as you reestablish your warrior 1 stance. With our hands on our hips, we're going to turn warrior 1 hips into warrior 2 hips. And you might adjust your feet. Generally, it's a little bit of a narrower stance vis-a-vis side to side. And then finding that 1 long arm, looking out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. Yeah. She wants to rock it a little bit. Totally cool. From here, painting rainbows. Breathing in as we straighten the front leg without locking the knee. Exhaling back to our warrior 2. And 6 times. Inhale. And channeling your inner palm tree here. Awesome. Breathing in and breathing out. The rigid tree is the one that gets blown over in the storm. The one that flows, bends with the wind. 2 more times. Breathing in and breathing out. Last one here. We're going to hold that. And if you wanted to focus on a little more rigidity, go for it. As you reach up higher, you reach down further, finding more space between each rib. And spreading those fingers wide as we find more space in our hands. And breathing into that space. Turning the reverse warrior back into warrior 2. The I'm a little teacup transition as we move towards our triangle. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. We're going to deepen that crease and lengthen those ribs. And if you have a yoga elf or your bricks are close by, you can put the bricks outside the calf.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you can line your thumb up with that shin bone and use your shin as a brick. Using top hand to good effect, we can rotate those ribs. Yeah. Opening up shoulder, nice. And then stretching hand high. Beautiful. As we hold whatever shape you've found, as you breathe in, your diaphragm or our diaphragm stretch down towards our navel, gathering energy in that place as we draw air into our lungs. As we breathe out, our diaphragm relaxes and domes up to the heart. On that movement, the air moves out of the lungs, and on that impetus, connecting with the pulsation of the breath, as we find more amplitude in the shape. Moving towards our half moon, top hand finds the hip for either one big step, a series of steps in. Feel free to set your base with those bricks. I'll let you do that. Working at a height that's appropriate. Generally, a higher height is a little bit easier, but easy is good because you can find more space when you don't have to struggle with the balance so much. So yeah, find your base.
I'm just trying to find my brain.
And from here, if you have your balance, these bricks are not industrial grade bricks. I bought them at Walgreens.
I remember.
So you're gonna rotate those ribs.
It's all right. They were fine.
They work fine. Opening up shoulder
No need to buy more books.
and then stretching hand high to the sky.
We have books.
Yeah, we could always use books. The bricks are nice because they kind of stay solid when you move them around. Books tend to flop around over there.
That is true.
Soup cans are nice though. You know, nice big can of stewed tomatoes. Awesome. Coming down with grace and control. Now you landed a short stance first. If you want to try to land the long stance, go for it. Yeah, but make sure your knee wants to do that. So the short stance is the safe option. Finding your warrior 2. And then from warrior 2, a big windmill of the arms as you make your way back to your low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. And take your time. Find your flow. Awesome. So we started doing these videos. One of my students at Bay Club FIDI, which is opening up for a soft opening today for the first time in a long time. She loves the pigeon or the swan pose. It's a little hard on knees sometimes, so the option, you can see me here, is the on your back figure 4. And I'll let you at home get there. I won't cue it, but I'm going to cue Kathy through a swan sequence, where she's going to bear the weight of her body on her knee. If that's not for your knee, then of course, on your back is the option.
But I'm doing it in a way that doesn't exacerbate any injury already, so.
Yeah, and you've done this pose a lot, so.
But that being said,
You
I
wanna be
can show
super-
modifications.
Super careful with your knees, because they're hard to fix.
It's true.
from what
I
hear.
agree. Back on your back, it's so great.
Anyway, I'm going to cue you through the dangerous path here. So big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky. Lifted leg straight, keeping the shoulders solid and stable as you stack the hips. And it might not be a big stack. Now bending the leg, maybe it's more of a stack with the bent leg, keeping the shoulder just as it is. Keeping the knee joint closed as you swing that right knee to right wrist. We're moving towards our swan. Scooting the left leg back. Take your time as you settle the hips. At a certain point, you can't settle the hips anymore. You'll unfurl the foot to stabilize the shape, keeping everything in one line. Finding the tips of 10 fingers. That beautiful up dog that you did before, shoulder blades back and down. Feel it here with the swan legs. And then leading with the heart as you swan dive into a forward fold. And it's a slow swan dive as you traction your spine. So slow, slow, slow. I could go even longer with the arms, Kathy. Don't bend the elbows yet. Now pacing the palms down, keeping the elbows lifted initially, heavying the forehead down. And now letting your arms relax. As you let gravity take over. As we hold the shape, your hips aren't going to move, but putting your mind in your hips and stretching them away from that axis mundi, that center line, as you find more space on an energetic level in those hips and low back. Breathing into that space on a metaphorical basis.
Where should your heel be?
The heel, it depends on your hips. I like to put it under the opposite hip. My hips are relatively narrow. If you have bigger hips, that might cause too much torque on the knee. So you might place it on the perineum if that is enjoyable. If that feels weird.
That's exactly where it is for me.
Don't do it, yeah.
And it feels great.
Okay, if it feels great, then you should do it. From here, let's do a swan twist each way. So you're going to come on back. You're going to find a perpendicular form. I'll say on the bent knee to side. So I'm going to turn away from the camera. Other hand goes out to the side. You're going to have to knock those bricks over a little bit, yeah. Then you're going to pull back with that forearm as you turn your heart towards that hand. Relatively safe way to stretch the low back with that external and internal rotation to stabilize the pelvis. So you can probably go for it pretty big here. Having said that, any sharp twinges or pains, back off. Coming back to center, we'll take that swan twist the other way, other perpendicular forearm, other outrigger hand. Pulling back with that forearm as you turn your heart towards that hand, feeling the stretch. My guess is going to be here.
I'm feeling it more in my shoulder line.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, we're all different, which is the beauty of our yoga practice. We can explore our differences.
So that's because I think I'm already stretched out right here.
So your hips are probably more open than mine are. From here, let's come back center. We're going to fly the swan. Kathy's signature pose here. Strong abdominal engagement as we draw everything up. That perineum up to the navel, navel up to the sternum as she floats those hands high. And then I'll invite you just to play with your wrists a little bit, little circles, seeing how they feel. It's a good way to distract yourself from that strong abdominal engagement. Awesome, beautiful. I don't want to keep you here forever. I want to keep your knees super happy as you ground. Okay, awesome, beautiful. You want to find the U behind? Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll do it on the second side. I just did. Yeah, love it. Oh, that looks so good.
Whoa.
And then grounding down through the palms as you tuck those back toes, keeping the knee joint closed as you lift that leg high. And then very carefully opening the knee, inviting more prana, more life force, also synovial fluid, everything else that moves through our bodies, nervous system. And then grounding on down. And then either siphoning through vinyasa or just holding your down dog. And really up to you. So I know you're not cycling through vinyasa. Do you have enough energy to do the moving plank thing again?
I do.
Okay. So inhaling forward to plank pose. On the exhale, navel to spine as you lift the hips.
I'm just
high.
being mindful of my
Of course.
elbow right here, so
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
want to overtax
For
it.
sure.
But
And
I think moving plank is a good, like, kind of
yeah, I think it's
breathing
really
out kind of
relatively
thing.
safe. Inhaling forward, we'll do it 2 more times. Exhaling, taking it back. Inhaling forward to your plank pose and just holding that. Again, feeling that axis mundi, that connection between head, hips, and heels. And whatever you're feeling, just breathing in. Connecting with your body. And again, the breath is the bridge between our body and our mind. It's a great way to establish that connection that is always actually there. It's just that we forget that it's there. And then navel to spine as you lift the hips higher. You have enough energy for the second side before we
do,
try
I
to
do,
transpose?
I
Excellent,
do.
excellent,
The
excellent.
breath is the bridge between your body and mind. I love that. Everyone should remember that all day long.
Yeah, we can put it on a calendar and distribute it nationally. Big toes
Have
touch.
Biden set it out.
Biden will set it up for sure. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky. High on the right toes. Now, best you can, stable shoulders as you find a little bit of a stack. Probably not much of a stack. Now bending the leg, you'll find more of a stack probably, for whatever reason. Yeah, it's probably less weight. Awesome. And then looking between the hands, we want to keep that knee joint closed. You're going to bring that knee to your elbow. Take your time here as you walk the other foot back. If you can't settle the hips anymore, also just unfurling the foot to stretch that place where the foot and the ankle connect. Finding the tips of 10 fingers as we settle the shoulders. And then slowly tractioning yourself as you stretch out your back. And again, take your time. If there's any place you want to stop and hang out and linger, go for it. Yeah. Now I'll suggest keeping the arms engaged, giving a stretch in your shoulders. If it's too much, don't engage so much, and then letting the pose relax. Just letting gravity take over. And I'll give that same cue vis-a-vis the hips. So putting your mind in your hips, and they're not going to move, but feel like you're moving away from the midpoint as you find more space in those hips and low back. Awesome, beautiful. And any other thing you want to do. And again, Kathy, we tend to put our heels in different places because we have different anatomy. Putting that heel in a place that's comfortable for you. And if it's too weird, move it. If your knee hurts, move it.
Yeah, that's a really important thing, I suppose, to keep people. If it doesn't feel comfortable, move until you get that way, because that's how people get hurt, thinking they have to stretch themselves into a pose that doesn't work for their body.
Yeah, and that's why I like to work with a closed knee joint. There's a version, if your hips are super open, you can work a perpendicular shin to the front of the mat.
Oof.
And I find for most of us, that's just too much in our knee.
Yeah, that sounds...
So let's play swan twist each way. So you're going to walk the hands in. You're going to find a perpendicular form on the bent knee side of things. Outrigger hand, and then any amount, pulling back with that form. As we stretch out whatever you're stretching, I tend to feel it more in low back and hips. Kathy
On this side,
says
this
it's more
side
of a
I
shoulder
am.
experience.
It's interesting, this side it is more that.
And that's part of our yoga practice, just examining how we differ, left, right, top, bottom, front, back.
Right side's more open than my left, and I guess that makes sense as I'm a right-handed person.
Yeah. I used to, my left hip is super, I have issues with my left hip because I used to always just stand on my left foot all day long on the training floor.
In the factory.
In the factory, yeah. Now we're going to take that swan twist the other way.
I have to say, I like this way of you doing this part before the rising swan or whatever it's called.
Oh, the twist?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
good. Instead of having that after, I like it this way. It's
Oh,
better.
excellent. All right. Excellent feedback. And I'll keep doing it this way. And now we're going to fly the swan.
Have the hardest thing at the end.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious I did it the other way. I'm just saying, did I really teach it that way? Now that strong engagement, perineum to navel, navel to heart, heart to throat, open heart, open throat. Yeah, there, beautiful. And then working those wrists. And we'll try to get all the moves in. Awesome. And that lovely, lovely letter U, that's what it's called in terms of shoulder therapy.
And use your
Clasp of the fingers behind the head.
other clasp.
Open
right?
heart. You can switch the clasp, yeah.
Whoa.
Awesome. Whoa. And
You're just showing
sometimes
me.
you go a little too big and you have to come out. So come out safely. When you're done, ground it down through two palms, tucking those back toes, finding your three-legged dog with a closed knee joint. And then very carefully opening that knee. Just inviting sensation. There's lots of medical stuff going on a yoga level. We've got prana, which is the life force within everything, really.
Yep.
The universal consciousness back into that knee. So you're connecting your knee to the very center of the universe by paying attention to what's going on. And then, one more time, you've got an opportunity to cycle through vinyasa or just chill it out. It's really up to you. Whatever feels right and good. Awesome. And I love the way your up dog has progressed.
Me too. Thank
Your
you.
shoulders seem much less frozen. than
It's
what they were.
amazing.
Yeah.
It just is all the practice.
From here, I'll invite you to land your knees lightly, and we will find that child's pose. I mean, it's probably only the second one you've done, so you've got a pretty
Yay.
active practice.
Woo.
Nestling your belly towards your thighs, if you have a physical connection, letting the belly massage the thighs as you breathe in, letting the thighs massage the belly as you breathe out. If you're working with a little more space, just feeling that energetic connection, connecting with the very center of yourself, keeping everything super, super soft, including that belly. So we're kind of moving away from that ujjayi breath now as we find our belly breath. From this place, I'll suggest spinning the palms down if they're not already there, keeping hips and heels just as they are as you walk your hands to one side. So we're finding a side bend here, stretching far hip to far heel. And then walking your hands to center, finding that side stretch the other way, stretching other hip to other heel. And then I'll invite you to walk your hands center and coming back to a kneeling hero pose, depending how your knees feel. So you're going to sit on your feet. Now, is this okay?
Yeah. Should I face so they can see?
You can go sideways, I think. Yeah, I think sideways is good. Now, if this is too much for your knees, of course you can take the weight of the body out of the equation. I'll show an option with bricks. So if you lift your hips up and widen your feet,
I love that
You
option.
can also put some
That's a
brakes
good
on.
one,
Yeah.
actually.
It's a
Especially
little-
after all the knee work, I think
little less
it's
intense.
probably wiser after all the knee work.
Yeah, nice. And this is a Virasana, using the bricks to raise the floor. I'll suggest one palm supports the other. Nice. As we hold the shave, just calming our breath down. Even though we're working with Samarviti, same breath, also finding an element of belly breath here, so letting your belly be soft. Maybe losing that ujjayi breath, just letting the air flow freely in and out. As we hold the shade, maybe just setting an intention for the rest of your day. And then I'll invite you to bring your hands or your feet off to one side if you're working with the bricks. Be careful. There's other ways to do it, yeah. I'll move the bricks for you, and you just kick them out of the way. I'll invite you to find a long, slow roll down onto your back. So maybe coming a little bit more towards the top of the mat. So your head has something soft to land on. We can start from our tall spine, neutral spine, back of the head's in line with the sacrum. From here, tucking tail and chin, finding C-spine. Take a bigger forward fold, make sure your back wants to do that. And then I'll suggest keeping that C-spine as you roll yourself down. So slow, 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 slow. Yeah, thanks. When you get down, finding a full body stretch, arms by the ears. Low back's going to lift. You want to keep your ribs soft and drawing in, though, so not too low. From here, to support the action of the arms, I'll invite you to press your back into the mat as you bring your arms out to the side and widen your thighs. And then letting everything relax, the low back's going to find its natural shape. Tip of the tongue is now neutral in your mouth. A slight part to your lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose. So now move the yoga bells. We won't be here too long. As we hold this shape, feeling the front plane of your body falling into your back plane. We'll get a nice solid floor here, both planes of the body falling into the floor. If you do this one on the beach, just settling into the sand feels wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, you might even channel that wonderful feeling as if you were on a beach with the sun in your face. Letting your breath do its own thing. And then even softening that focus on your breath as we start to move towards pratyahara, that internal focus of our five senses. Rather than chaining them to the outside world, we're turning that focus inward. Pressing your back into the mat to support the action of the legs. Drawing one knee into the heart and then the other. Hands cap the knees, keeping the back of the head down, just using those thighs to massage your center of balance, your low belly, as you gently rock it front to back, side to side, little circles, whatever feels right and good for you. And I love this way of coming up. I know it's a little challenging. I'll invite you to reach back with a hand to lift and tuck your chin, keeping the neck relaxed. Chin stays tucked, the hand comes back to the shin. So 2 hands on 2 shins. Now, if you're a little too a compact little ball here to rock it front to back and come up to a sit, you could catch the back of the thighs and go a little longer through the legs. But I'll invite you to take 2 or 3 rocks back to back, just massaging your spine. And it's going to take some core engagement, so feel free to catch the thighs if your core is not engaging strong enough to pop you up. As you expand through the legs, beautiful. Finding a cross-legged sit, I'll invite you to face the camera. One palm supports the other, like we did before. And I'm going to ring these yoga bells 3 times. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart. Ending our practice as we started, just watching as our breath flows in and out. And I'll invite you to find that belly breath, so belly's super, super soft. From this place of breath awareness, a bow any amount as you thank yourself for practicing yoga. The light within us honors and respects the light within you. And in this light, we're one. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Kathy, for practicing with me.
Thank
Another
you, Mark.
awesome
Thank
practice.
You, yoga friends.
Thank you, yoga friends at home. And namaste sounds like have a nice day. And we'll see you next time.
Namaste. Nice day.